Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast with myself, Joseph Clough. For more information about me, go ahead and visit my website, josephclough.com, as well as facebook.com/Joseph's fan page and twitter.com/Joseph Clough. Now, I mention those because on the Facebook and especially as well as the Twitter, I got a free confidence program, and that's actually more information about that is on my last podcast as well, so feel free to go ahead and check that. So it's been a while since I have actually done a podcast, simply because I've been so busy in developing this free 8-hour confidence program, and it's one of those things where I thought I really need to be able to help as many people as possible, and that program was a way of doing so. So you can get direct access to that, so you can resolve anxiety, fears, worries, depression, in fact anything really. If you want to be able to make changes in your life, you're going to really enjoy that program. Now, another thing I've been really busy is all about my new book coming out. Now, my book, Be Your Potential, is coming out in July. And I wanted to share with you how I actually got the book deal and how you can actually learn from this, as well as a few other subjects. It is a bit of a medley of thoughts that I've had over the last month or so. So I think you're just going to really be able to gain powerful insights to be able to make changes in your own life. So as I said, I got an amazing book deal with Hay House, which was my dream ultimately, because to me they're like the best publishers in the world. They do all the Deepak Chopra books, the Wayne Dyer books, and it's all founded by Louise Hay, who's a prolific and amazing author in her own self, let alone having this publishing company. So first of all, I want to thank you guys for being my inspiration for making changes. To be able to get your feedback from Facebook, from Twitter, from your emails is absolutely amazing. I love connecting with you. And as I said, to be with Hay House is absolutely amazing because it means that I can begin to help more people. And as I speak about my book, I want to go over how it came into fruition really, and how you can utilize my thoughts to help you in life. Now at school, you could say I was at the bottom of the classes. I really struggled. In fact, I remember when I was in school, my teacher actually said, "You're never going to be able to do very well at school," and that really shook me to the core. Now, my mother, at the time, didn't want me to be having special assistance by anyone because of how I'd act, because I was very nervous and self-conscious at the time. So she took up the responsibility in getting me after-school tuition. Now, although I didn't get all the most amazing results, I did really improve in just scraping by. Rather being absolutely terrible, I just kind of passed really. And that really continued all the way through. So I struggled with writing. I struggled with learning information. So you could say I academically stumbled. In fact, I'm happy to say I still do. If you're a reader of my blogs, you'll be able to notice some simple mistakes there, no doubt. But I refuse to allow anything to stop me. Now, rather, if that's meaning writing a book, or speaking my mind into this recording machine of mine, to be able to do the confidence program, there's always ways where you can get a solution as long as you have the passion there. If you have passion, you can overcome absolutely anything. Now, to me, passion comes from making the conscious decision that now is the time to make a change and to figure out what is motivating you. Because someone could give me a book in, say, car mechanics, and I would not have an idea of how it was because I'm not passionate about it. It doesn't get me juiced up to think, I really want to learn this. But if someone shows me a self-help book, that's where I get motivated because that's my subject. I love speaking about it. I love learning about myself and how I can help other people. So when it came to this book, it's quite funny really, because I didn't actually write it. I actually recorded it vocally first. Then I paid someone to transcribe it. So there's always a way of getting around any challenge. So when I think about this book deal, to summarize it, I ultimately, and there's for you by the way, if you want to make changes, so we can really directly apply this to making any change in your life. The first thing is to take ownership. Despite any lack in present ability, we must take responsibility for our circumstance. When we take that ownership, we assume control and we really begin to refuse to allow other people, circumstances or situations to have an impact on our life. That's how I live my life. I will not buy into society's expectations. I'm not going to buy into the financial climate at the moment, and I haven't, and my business is doing very, very well. It's actually increased rather decreased. So I'm really not going to buy into any expectation of anyone else. Because some people say you've got to be realistic. But then again, who defines what is realistic? Only we can, right? And if someone is saying, well, you can't do that, well, the chances are, well, it's not even a chance, it's a truth, is they're just buying into their own expectations. That's their own present mindset. Now, yours can be absolutely different. And the chances are they found or created those own perceptions by simply buying into what they've been told. You see, when you think about this, it's really about taking ownership for your life. To begin to really make changes, you have to do it. It all starts with you. It all starts to come from the universe, the world, yourself, whatever you believe in. But it all starts with taking responsibility for your life. So you're no longer allowing life to dictate you, but you're actually dictating life and how you act and react to it. So let's just say that's number one, to take ownership. The other thing is we need to know our outcome in mind. We must bear in mind our outcome, stating it in the positive. And I always say stating in the positive because biologically, we are taught to think of what we don't want or to prepare for the things we don't want. Because if you could imagine, many, many, many years ago, we were living in lands which were ultimately very dangerous. So we had to prepare of all the things which could go wrong in order to be safe in that environment. Now in today's living, we've really grown and moved on from there. Where we are, predominantly in most cases, we have a level of security. We have that already there. But still, we're thinking of all the things we don't want. I don't want to be more in debt. I don't want to have another bad relationship. I don't want to continue gambling or smoking or drinking or whatever an issue may be. We always tend to think, I don't want this. But you see, when we say, I don't want this, in a way we're inviting more of it into our life. Because when we begin to think about what we don't want, we create images in our mind. We develop emotional feelings. The neural networks develop connections to all the things we don't want, and that becomes predominant in our mind. Now, if you're focusing on something that you don't want for long enough, that becomes the expectation to your unconscious mind. So when you think of what you don't want, that becomes the expectation. And usually because the mind finds it very hard to distinguish between what is good and is bad, when that's in the forefront of our mind, it looks for more of it. Now, as an example for this, just like a real life example, if you think of a time when you've learnt a new word. When you learn a new word, you begin to see it popping up into your reality in many different ways. But it was always there in the past, but because it was outside of your awareness, because you didn't know the new word, it meant you deleted it. So when you did learn that word, you began to search for it because that's part of the mindset. Your unconscious mind's been given a signal, I'm going to look for more of this because it's a new learning. It's the exact same thing if you want to buy something. Say you want to buy a new car and you make a decision, you begin to see that car everywhere because it's in the forefront of your mind. Your mind is actively looking out for this. So it's really important to focus on what you want. When you focus on what you want, when you take ownership and you take your outcome, your positive outcome, and focus on what you want, you're telling your unconscious mind, this is what I'm going for. And it will look for opportunities or look for solutions that allow you to get there. I mean, another silly example of what we can tend to do, we go, oh my God, I am so silly. Why am I always so silly? Why do I always do this to myself? And then your unconscious mind comes up with all the memories where you may have acted silly. Simply by asking that question, why am I like what I am? It will just create and find that for you, because that's where our focus is once again. But if we think of how can I get better, We're changing our focus to what we want. How can I get this outcome? It will cause your unconscious mind to find new ways of making changes and living the life that you want. So we know about taking ownership. We know the importance now of our outcome because it allows us to propel our mind and body in the direction, and we know wherever our attention goes, energy flows, and with consistency, it expands in us, in our actions, and in our world. But a third one is to do. We must take action. We must seize this moment and do what you desire. Without action, we are simply dreamers. But with action, we are visionaries manifesting dreams into reality. So assume the feeling of having achieved your desires and take real powerful action. I like to say take inspired action. When you are inspired to do something, you just do it. So when you know your outcome, take inspired action. When we decide to do, we decide to live. Then we need to have evolution. To be flexible. When we're rigid and closed to change, we stop growing. We get stuck. However, when we develop a flexibility in our behavior, and also our mind, it means we can adjust to our environment. We can learn from our experience, and we can learn from what life throws at us, and we can see it as a challenge. I mean, when you think about this, biologically, your body has learned to evolve. For all the generations before you, you're here today because your biological body has learned to pass on healthy genes and to adapt in your environment and in the generations before you, all the generations before you and their environment. They learned to survive and you're learning to survive. So we must evolve, and to evolve in achieving our goals, we must be flexible in our actions. We must be flexible in our thoughts and our feelings and behaviors. The next thing is to contribute. When you're kind, when you be kind, and you be thankful, and you give, that's a powerful way of making changes. I put a lot of my own successes down to my love to give or to contribute to the world. And it's allowed me to live a far more fulfilling life. Now, statistically, my work is being listened to over 1,000 times a day, which is absolutely immense, and it blows my mind. And that gives me so much gratitude that I'm doing that. Now, that is a lot to be able to do, maybe. And it's taken a long time for me to do that. But even those little things that you can do to be kind, to be thankful, and to give, changes your mindset. When you contribute, when you give, and we not only allow others to see the beauty of you in action, in turn, it gives others to see how they can change. But when you give, the core of you begins to thrive. I mean, you know when you've done something nice to someone, how good it makes you feel, how empowered you feel, how you want to do more of it, how thankful you are, how you see the positive in life. You inspire yourself. So simply by contributing, by helping and being kind, it causes you to feel gratitude. And when you feel gratitude, you're in an emotional state of accepting from the world around you as well. Because when you're so grateful for living, you see the positive in life and you look for more opportunities to be more thankful and to live happier. So it gives you the happiness and the confidence to grow. And then we need to be. It's really important to be fully present in this moment. When we put our attention on this moment, this amazing moment right now, we actually begin to release past negative emotions. We also let go of the illusionary future, such as like anxiety, fears, self-doubt. You see, when you live in this moment and you love it, it means all your attention's there, so you give up that energy to the past. You give up that energy for the anxiety of the future. When you're fully present right now, your body and your mind is fully focused on what's happening right here. Therefore, I believe, in my own personal opinion, illness begins to disappear, emotional issues begin to disappear, because our attention is on this moment. And when we do that, we make powerful changes. So live in this moment and love it. When you do that, life flows with you, and you experience everything it has to offer. And speaking of that, it's really important to love. To love who you are, love what you do, and to love life. That can be a very big thing because we have been taught in many cases to feel inadequate, to not feel good enough. But make it your priority. And it's strange. Some people might say, oh, that's egotistical. Well, no, it's not. That's living fully, is to love yourself. Because when you love yourself, you have loving behaviors. When you love yourself, you want more out of life and you want to experience more love. So if you want more love in your life, give more love. And that also means to give more love to yourself too. When you do that, you're truly aligned with where you're heading. So it's really about taking ownership, knowing your outcome, to do and take inspired action, to be flexible in your behavior, to contribute, to just be in this moment, and to love. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is something which happened just the other day, actually, because I put a quote out on one of my social media, like the Twitter and the Facebook and things like that, and it is a really interesting one, really, because there's what I put out. I said, there are always examples around the world that tell you why you cannot do something. So there's always examples around the world that tell you why you can't do something. But there always will be, at least one example where someone has. You see, there's always going to be an example of where someone's been successful in your situation, or who's overcome something, or been able to make a change in life, society, or wherever really. But I had this really interesting reply and comment to this, and it was a real wonderful comment in many ways, because I think it highlights a very good point. So there's what they replied with to that. They said, that's so easy. I admire your motivation, but this only focuses on the Western world. I read an article on Zimbabwe and how the women and children who lived under man's rules. So no matter what his status, they lived under the man's rules. They also said about the abuse and the HIV and the horrible things like the incest and the rape that women endure, which is absolutely horrible. And they are probably, and she says, and they are probably more wishing that they didn't have to experience this. And not, oh my God, my life is so bad because I don't use my true goal in life. But if I do this positive thinking, am I okay? So ultimately, we're really saying here, this lady said, or this person said, that that's great in theory, but how does that apply to people in situations where they're completely out of control of their life? They're being used and abused, and how's positive thinking going to be able to change that? Because there's real stuff happening. And I think it's a really important point which I'd like to discuss with you, and it'll really help you as well, because my reply went something like this. Now, when it comes to this side of things, I mean, it is easy to say these positive aspects in life, and it's another thing actually doing it. And I totally get what that lady was saying. So I was pretty much saying, like, I really thank you for that comment. But I'd also say, positive thinking does not make everything okay. It can help you though. It's been proven that positive thinking adds value in making changes in one's life. We know that when you're more positive, you make more changes and you begin to act and react differently. Now, although my statuses or my comments may or may not transform that situation, and it may not change that situation on the surface either, but we shouldn't really dismiss the application of it. Because when you think about it, would we prefer people in that situation to have the opposite belief or mindset? I mean, when you think about it, surely just having that mindset's going to help in some way, even the smallest way, whether it be to be more optimist, to be more positive, to have future hope. It's going to help, isn't it? And we wouldn't want them to have the opposite of that. And with having my statement of there's always examples around the world that tell us why we can't do something, but there's always going to be at least one example where someone has achieved it. Is that going to be more helpful for them, or will it hinder them? Also, if we take that mindset on a big level terms, like speaking about on Facebook and Twitter, it might cause one person to wake up, to take a stand, and to stop those horrible things in other countries. Even if it caused just one person to think, actually there's another example in history or in another area of the world where this society has changed its behavior, yet it used to have that old behavior or abuse toward women, by taking certain stands and taking certain actions. So therefore, if it can happen in other societies where they've made changes and they've moved on from those horrific abuse and so on, therefore there's hope for other people to do that, like in Zimbabwe. So pretty much, I think when I say what I say to you guys on Facebook, Twitter, and these podcasts, there's simply my truth, my personal truth. And for others, it may be convenient assumptions that once applied can make changes in one's lives. And the more people who make changes, the quicker it spreads to other people and other situations. As Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. Because when you do that, when we take that statement, it means we're showing others they can make changes. And when we do that, we transform ourselves. So to me, yes, that statement might not be directly applicable for that person in that situation right then. But I think it kind of is, because it gives optimism, it gets us searching for answers. So it can only be of more value than not having it or having the opposite of that belief system. So really, positive thinking is great, but it has to be coupled up with this taking action and really making changes in your own life, taking that responsibility. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you, like I said, it's a bit of a medley of my ideas, is how to be able to get new perspectives and solutions. How you can break through limiting thoughts and limiting belief systems. Because I invite you to just bring to your mind maybe an issue that you may have. And as you invite that issue into your mind, it doesn't have to be big, but just as an issue that you may be having right now. And I want you to consider this. As you think about that, you're more than that problem, aren't you? When you think about your problem, you're more than that, aren't you? There's other things where you're more than that. It's an odd question, but just consider that. When you think about your problem, you're not only your problem, are you? You're more than that problem. And if you're more than that problem, and you're not just this problem, what else are you that is wonderful in every way? So just go ahead and maybe, if you've got a pen and paper to hand, or just notice in your mind right now, just think about everything else that you are, which is not the problem. Maybe you're good at something. Maybe you're good at your job. Maybe a hobby. Just go ahead and write down or consider what you're good at. What is not the problem. Maybe you have the ability to do something. Maybe you're a caring person. You can write that down or think about things like that. Maybe you're trustworthy. Maybe you're loving. Maybe you want good for others and yourself. Just fully consider all the things that you are, which is more than this issue, or even issues. Write down your qualities. What type of wonderful traits do you have? Your personality, maybe. Your humor. Your kindness. Maybe you're joyful. Maybe you have high values, important, strong values of integrity. Maybe you strive for inner contentment. Think about the things that you've done for other people, perhaps. You can consider those or write those down. Just fully consider those other things that you may not even have considered for a long time. That's it. Just consider those in your mind. What values do you have? What belief systems do you have which support you? What kind of abilities do you have? Maybe you have that talent. Maybe you want to support, or you are a supporting person. Think about the good things you are good at. Maybe you have the ability to learn, which you do. Maybe one of the qualities is that you're listening to this right now, because it means you want to better yourself. Now, to me, that's an amazing quality. Just fully consider those things. Their importance to you, which you're good at in life. Now just consider the things that you have. Maybe you have the roof over your head, all the things you're grateful for, the clothes, the friends, the families, the ears, the eyes, the ability to do all the things you want. Maybe a car, maybe you have the legs to walk around, the arms. Or all the things which you have in your life, what you're grateful for. And as you do that, go ahead and continue to write those down or think of examples of all the things you're grateful for. Maybe you have enough money to eat. Maybe your friends. Maybe your job, your qualities. Maybe you've had wonderful experiences, like the holidays, the vacations. Maybe you have the family. And as you consider those, notice the energy in each one of them, how they're all unique, for they all make up you. But you're even more than that, because you're interconnected with everything around you. You are energy. And you may even want to consider that possibility, that definite, that you are energy. You're made up of energy. You're connected. You are potential. Energy is just pure potential. You're full of potentiality, that means. Now, you've also survived to this point right now. And that's a great quality to have, right? To be a survivor, to be a thriver. Maybe because we are all energy. And we are all interconnected at a deep level. That means you are everything else. All the good. You are the world. Because you are just energy, and beyond that, you may even consider that you are the universe. Because you are made up of the universe. Because when you think about it, you're made up of all the stars on the Big Bang and so on, or whatever your belief system. You're made up of that substance, which has reproduced itself into you. So you're made up of the stars. That's a great quality to have, right? And as you consider all of that, and imagine the collection of those, a kaleidoscope of those values. Now put that problem you experience right in the middle. And see all the things around it of all your wonderful qualities. Notice how much more you are compared to that problem. How much bigger you are, how much brighter you are, how much stronger you are. You are so many more things, and as you notice that, your unconscious mind can allow you to notice those good things that you have in your life. The qualities, the values, the abilities, and all those strategies that can transcend into the solution to the problem, to give you a new perspective, a new insight, new learnings that will allow you to realize how much more you are in every way, and to find those answers. Because you're always more than the issue. You're wonderful, you are beauty, you are joy, you are, in my opinion, love. You're wonderful and you are great. And whatever you think you are, you're always more than that. So just fully consider all those things and notice how that problem can change, be smaller, or transcend in a way that you can learn from it and resolve it. Allow your attention to be there. Because I think it's really important. The fact that you've made changes. That you are a hero. Because when you think of what a hero is, it's someone who has courage or the ability to make a change. Someone who is prepared to understand the nature of the problem, the challenge, being conscious of a challenge, which you are, and also has the ability to seize it, to take action, to be you. That is being a hero. And each learning that you make, each obstacle you grow from, you make changes. And that's what a hero does. Sometimes things happen in life, but it only uncovers the power within you, the strength within you. Because you are worthy, you are powerful, and you are creative and capable. When you realize this, we realize that the very nature of going through and persisting through any struggles or challenges, that means you're on the edge of the realization that you are so amazing, but you're just a step away from that solution, that you're stepping out of the darkness and pushing beyond the comfort zone, and expanding your mind from the darkness into the light, and becoming your very own hero. Now, the last thing I want to say, which is a very big update really, is right now I'm going through some big changes and transitions. Now, my career today has been 10 years, a decade. I started when I was 18 and I'm now 28 years old. And the last 5 years, my aim is to get my message out into the world to as cheap as possible and for free. Hence why I do these podcasts. That's why I do all the free apps, the iPhone apps, the Android apps, all the stuff on Facebook and Twitter, the free confidence, 8-hour confidence program. I really want to be able to share my work. In the last 2 years, it's been pretty intense creating all this. Generating well over 70 hours in the last 2 years of free hypnosis and coaching. And thankfully, it's really done well because it's reached over 500,000 people in those 2 years. And that's a not real honor for me to do that. But inevitably, producing and having my work listened to in that way has actually made me busy. The amount of emails that I get now is quite amazing, and it is actually most of my time these days. So on this journey, and my mission to create changes, and to show people how amazing they are, and really tell you from my heart how amazing I believe you are, or how I know that you are amazing, I have at times lost sight of who I am. I've been detaching my commitments to making changes in the world from my own personal needs, from my health, my relationship, my spiritual side, the connection with myself has almost been not that existent, really. Because my commitment to you guys has been really about making changes, and it's ruled it's been ruling my mind and my behaviors. And in a way, I haven't actually been living how I teach. I love the metaphor about being the number one. I've always said that you should be number one. Because if you take the metaphor of being on a plane in a state or an event of emergency, if we're with children on that journey, now, if there was something to happen, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before your children. Makes sense, right? Because there's no point putting the oxygen masks on your children because you're losing oxygen, therefore you can't help them. But when you put oxygen mask on yourself, you have all the energy to help other people. So I really love that metaphor. But I have been feeling it's been my own mission trying to put on everyone's oxygen mask before my own. And in recent weeks and months, I've been doing 12, 14-hour days, and also not having a day off. Like at 14 days at a time, I've just been working solid, doing the 12 to 14 hours. And even between them, because my mind's been on helping and trying to answer all the questions, really giving as much content as possible. has caused me to be thinking about it a lot as well. So my free time hasn't really been that much free. I've just been jaded by all the things. And also, I personally believe the quality, although I think is absolutely amazing still, because my mind's been so focused, it's been jaded by the quantity. So ultimately the tides are turning. I pretty much made the decision now. It's time for me to step back and focus on me. And if all goes to plan, I'll be going on holiday, a vacation. And I'm not sure for how long. It might just be 3 weeks. It might be 3 months. It might even be more. Not to find myself, because I know I'm already here, and I don't believe in finding yourself, because you just have to put your attention on yourself to see that. But I am going to make more connections with myself and put more attention on my own needs. And it's a brave decision, and I've been deliberating it for at least 12 months now. But work had got in the way. And a close friend of mine, Carrie, keeps on telling me, just go and be Joe for a while. Just go and just be you. And she knows the truth and the importance of just being for a while. Just being. Just to take the moment and be in this moment. And it's got me thinking recently, and I think it's going to help you as well. How much value can you give to others when you do not give value to your own life? Because life is not about existing or running the treadmill. It's about this moment and what brings you to life rather than what life brings to you. Are you, or am I, putting my attention on our own needs? Think about it. Are you putting your own attention on your own needs? Are you, or am I, prepared to forsake our own happiness and peace for never-ending stuff that life throws at us? Stuff will always be there. I can assure you that. It's life. It happens. There's always something to do. Always something or someone who needs our attention. But if our own attention is not on our own happiness, can we really help others effectively? I don't think we can. In every way, knowing I'm helping people, and it is literally 1,000 people a day at a minimum are listening to my work, which gives me this amazing sense of honor, and it's a kind of sense of honor I can't even consider experiencing at times because it's too much. And I haven't even had time to think about it as well because I've just been so focused on trying to do more. But I'm also aware that if you or I do not honor ourselves, then we cannot really truly honor others in quality. So here's some questions for you to get clear. Are you doing what you want in life? And consider that. If not, for what reason are you not doing it? And as you think about that reason or reasons, now take that real reason and realize it will no doubt be an excuse. Yep, I said it. More often than not, it's just an excuse. You're not simply here just for others' expectations or because of a situation dictates it. Now, as you consider that, are you willing to sacrifice your own happiness, even your health, for those reasons, for those excuses? Because it is your choice after all. And if not now, when? Make a decision, stick to it, and do it with commitment, take inspired action. Remember, we have to make decisions to do, to be, and have what we wish. There will always be examples around the world. Let's tie this back up. There will always be examples around the world similar to your situation, which will tell you why you cannot do it. But there's always at least one example where someone has. And if someone has, then it makes it possible. As for me and why I'm stopping, will I stop producing free content? Will I stop interacting with you? Will I stop doing what I do in general? The answer to that is no, no, and no. I will always be giving freely, but I plan to do it with a healthy spirit and mind. As when I do that, I will be inspired and want to do more of it because it feels right, rather than I need to do it. So when I'm going on my travels, I'll be experiencing other cultures, right? I'll be in a place of learning, a place of joy and connection with myself. Now, when I'm in that state, I love recording stuff. I love writing about stuff. So by actually taking time out, I'm actually going to be able to be producing more. So that's really, really important for you to realize. When you begin to focus on yourself, you'll actually be able to produce more in your life. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on a little journey. I don't know how long for, but I will be taking all my equipment. I'll be taking my flip cam, my phone, my laptop to do recordings, to do all these videos, all these things. I'll be still doing it all. I will always have internet connection, or most of the time anyway, to answer all the emails. But I'll be doing it from a different place, and not by just location, but a different heart-centered location. So, are you ready to leave and expand your comfort zone, or your familiar zone? Join me and step up and start living. So when you give, it will be because it comes from your heart-centered energy, which causes you to transform others, let alone yourself. So I hope you enjoyed that whole set of ideas, really. There's a good few in there, and just consider learning from them. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to obviously keep doing these podcasts. I'll be still doing all the Facebook stuff on facebook.com/Joseph Clough. Actually, that's a complete lie. My Facebook is not that. It's facebook.com/Joseph's fan page, and also twitter.com/Joseph Clough. So you can connect with me on there. You can download the free program from there as well, on those Twitter and Facebook, the free confidence program. You can go on my website, josephclough.com. You can connect with me there, send me an email, and so on. But just know that now's the time for you to be the real you. It all starts with you. Take action. Know your outcome. Evolve. Be flexible. To be in this moment. To give and to love and to be you. So until then, I will speak to you very, very soon. Have a wonderful day. Be wonderful and know you're wonderful in every way. Many thanks and goodbye.